The Book Programme. Presented by Hannah Murray.
Joining us on the line from the UK is Oliver Dowson, who spent a long career building a multinational business from scratch, exploiting his love of foreign travel, cultures, languages and food. He's visited nearly 150 countries for business and pleasure, including all the ones featured in his new novel, Spies on the Silk Road. It's a gripping thriller set against a backdrop of Central Asia. It's the third in the award-winning repurposed Spies series, featuring a cast of characters engaged in industrial espionage on an international scale. Welcome to the book show, Oliver.
Thank you very much for having me, Hannah.
Oh, it's great to have you with us. And I'm dying to ask you about your travels. 150 countries, that's impressive.
Yes, I just racked up the 150th last week.
Oh.
I've always loved travel. I'm not quite sure when I built a business, whether I built an international business because I wanted to travel to places or that it was the most economic thing to do. But between holidays and business, I've spent my life traveling to wherever I can, whenever I can.
Fantastic. So is there a country that's really surprised you that you weren't really expecting much, but it really took your breath away?
The one that was the most surprising of them all is the country it features in The Spies on the Silk Road, my latest book, which is Turkmenistan. And it really surprised me because it's such a different place. It's not what I expected. It's difficult to get into in the first place. It's supposed to be the most closed country on the world apart from North Korea, which I haven't been to yet. That was very interesting. But I find something interesting and exciting in every country I go to.
Yeah, nice. So I want to ask you about your experience in Mumbai as well. You were there when the horrendous terror attack took place in 2008.
Yeah, I was a sort of unwitting hostage, but not a hostage in the conventional sense. I didn't know if I was a hostage or not. I was trapped on the 30th floor of a hotel that was part of the attack. In fact, if I'd gone to my room 15 minutes later than I had, I might not be here talking to you today. Friends of my business associate who were checking in 15 minutes after I went through the lobby are not with us today, along with nearly 30 other people. And that was just one hotel in the course of the attack. So I was trapped up there not really knowing what was going on for nearly 2 days.
Gosh, awful. I can't imagine what it must be like, kind of looking back and remembering those times and just feeling, I guess, how unbelievably lucky you were to survive it all.
It's very strange. It's very strange when you have no news and you're basically, you know that you shouldn't go out because you don't know what's on the other side of the door. But everything is deadly quiet, apart from noises and bangs and gunshots and other questionable noises all in the distance, which you can only just hear through the sort of soundproofing in a hotel room. But I did write a little booklet about it. Anyone who's listening who would like a free copy can go on my website and get it. I had to write up my thoughts. But it was a very interesting experience. I've had a lot of great experiences in my life, some good, some really bad experiences, and a lot of really good ones.
Yeah. So let's talk about this latest book then. It's the third in a series. So had you planned this book and this particular location when you wrote the first book, or does each one come separately?
Each one came separately. I was actually going to write about a different geography for the third book until I went on holiday to these Central Asian Silk Road countries towards the end of 2023. That just inspired me. I saw so many things happening and linked it with experiences in my life to say, while I have all this in my mind, I need to write it now. It's pure fiction, apart from the place settings, the food, the type of people, the flights, the road transport, the immigration procedures. All of that is factual, but fictionalized. for the purpose of my little team of covert researchers, or spies, as you might like to call them.
So just tell us about them. Tell us about the concept of the series.
When I was running a business, I became very conscious of the risks of industrial espionage. And industrial espionage takes lots of different forms. It's something that goes on all around us. So it's not like James Bond, Jason Bourne type espionage. This is espionage where businesses want to find out what other businesses are doing. So they either want to steal formulae and concepts and ideas and designs, or they want to disrupt a company's business, or they even want to steal physical goods. And there's many other variations on a theme. And this is something that's far more common. It goes on all around us. But when I decided to start writing books, I first of all wrote a travelogue. There's no business like international business, which was pure fact about business trips I'd made. But that sort of got me into the inspiration for writing. And then when I started to think about the links to industrial espionage, and I went on holiday and I was with people. I met other people. You see people around you at the check-in desks. You see people traveling with you. And some of the people are incongruous, and you think, I wonder what they're doing there, because they don't actually look like tourists. I got to thinking, well, you know, being a tourist is a wonderful cover for lots of things. And I know things that go on. And so that was, if you like, the basis for my concept of books. So first of all, I wrote The Repurposed Spy, which was set around South America, which was based upon seeing people who'd been sitting in conferences and gleaning information totally unnecessary to what they purported to be there for. But because of the success of that, I went on to write the sequel, and that's Spies on Safari, and that's set in Africa, in Botswana and Namibia. And that was inspired by a trip I made there. So now the third one, Spies on the Silk Road, is these countries of Central Asia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan. And I've managed to throw chunks of Dubai, Lanzarote, and Cyprus in there as well.
Great. And with regards to the characters, do you have a different set of characters in each story, or are there some that go through all of them?
All these characters, the cast was added to in the second book. Then in the third book, we've lost one of the characters, but added in a new one. In a way, it's sort of a continuation of the same cast of characters, although their personalities develop, you learn more about them, and they also begin to act in different ways as their paths come together. So initially you have these people working in the first book, in The Repurposed Spy, you have a sense of them working in conflict, even though they are working together. They're being pulled together by a sort of rather nasty manager who puts them at cross purposes to each other. In the second, those people actually come together and realize that they're actually now on a common purpose and push out the nasty character. And by the third one, they're running as a relatively well-oiled machine, I suppose. So the characters are there, and they're all very different characters. Everything from the original character, Ronald Jones, my original repurposed spy, who was a spy, then became repurposed as a school teacher for most of his life, and then came out of retirement to become a spy again. And a whole team of younger people from a very strange and recalcitrant, is she Chinese, is she Korean, is she Japanese lady, a couple who meet through this scheme and then set up together in Lanzarote, and a young couple, a pilot and a facilitator from Latvia or Belarus, one or the other, you never quite know which, who make up a team of 6 who all come together and each have their own chapters, each have their own approach to a common problem. But they effectively act as a commercial entity for doing spying. Imagine you're a business and you actually need some industrial espionage done. You don't do it yourself. You actually contract this small team of so-called professionals, although sometimes they look like they're acting a bit like amateurs.
And is the idea that we like them as people? Are we rooting for them?
I think so. In the first book, in The Repurposed Spy, people tell me that they initially really disliked the character, and that was actually quite intentional. But by the end, they really loved him. And some people actually thought there wasn't going to be a sequel. They actually thought the way the book ended that there could never be one. But there's been 2, and I'm working on the 4th now.
I was going to ask you, do you know how many more you're going to do?
No, I don't. I take each one at a time. But the best thing that happened to me this year, and I went to a writers group I go to locally in London when I'm here in London. And I went last night and they said, what's the best thing to happen to you this year? And the best thing was that I've received emails in response to my occasional newsletter actually asking me to write a 4th book and suggesting a geography in which to do it.
Oh, great.
So I had 15 people send me emails saying, please write another book.
Oh, wonderful.
And why don't you set it in the Far East?
So that's what you're going to do?
Be Spies in Shanghai or something like that.
Brilliant. So is it important to you that, and I guess for you it's not difficult to do, to travel to all of the places where you're setting the books?
I've been to so many places, and so I can do a lot from memory. But I'll probably have to make another trip to some places in order to be sure of getting things right this time. Because although I spent a lot of time in Shanghai and in other places in the Far East during my business days, I haven't been back for 8 or 9 years now. So things will have changed.
Yeah, you better go back for research purposes.
And of course, for China, it's very topical now because your listeners will all have been following at least some of the news about the Chinese so-called spy or possible spy who's been friends with Prince Andrew.
Absolutely.
And that's a case of industrial espionage because whether or not he's acting on behalf of a government or feeding information to a government, the theory about what he's been doing is that he's been collecting business information.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, if people want to get a copy of Spies on the Silk Road, it's out now. It's available on our website, tre.radio, and it's by Oliver Dowson, who we've been chatting with today. Oliver, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Hannah.